How's it going, guys? Vaibhav here, and welcome to a video talking about the OnePlus 8T. It's OnePlus's next smartphone, and it's going to be an upgrade naturally over the OnePlus 8. But this year, we also saw the OnePlus 8 Pro, and I made a review of it. If you want to check that out, click the link down in the description, or if you want a video review of it, check out the card above. But I want to talk about the OnePlus 8T in this video, how it's going to be different from the OnePlus 8, and whether or not we'll see a OnePlus 8T Pro, because traditionally, we've seen OnePlus release a T variant of their 8 series or their number series, and also their number Pro series. That's what we saw last year with the 7T as well as the 7T Pro, but it looks like the 8T Pro might not be around this year, and so too would be the McLaren edition, because OnePlus and McLaren have sort of stopped their partnership, so we're not going to be seeing any other smartphone or any other smartphone in conjunction from both the companies, so that is sort of a blank slate as well. So we don't know what OnePlus has in store fully, but we do know that the OnePlus 8T is definitely coming. Now, this is an exclusive from Android Central, and what it says is the 8T is going to have a 120Hz AMOLED display, which means it's going to borrow the display that was found on the 8 Pro, but not found on the 8, so that's directly an improvement from the 8, and it's going to have a 48 megapixel primary setup with a quad camera setup overall, and OnePlus just loves its quad cameras, so of course we're gonna have 4 cameras, although not all 4 of them will be as useful as the primary sensor. Now, before we move into the specifications and overall feel of the phone, as well as a leaked picture of the phone and some specifications in terms of software, let's actually talk about the OnePlus 7T, which I thought was an absolutely tremendous smartphone. I have a full review of the OnePlus 7T up on GN Tech as well. Click the link down in the description if you want to check it out. But I thought that was a phenomenal smartphone. Like, everything from how it performed, the display, the form factor, the feel in hand, everything was just perfect, barring maybe the slightly underwhelming camera experience, especially in low light. But apart from that, you were looking at a pretty fantastic package, and if you read this review, it'll reflect the same. But the 8T, I feel like, is going to be a big upgrade over the 8, and I hope OnePlus also brings in some functionality to actually fix the issues that the 8 Pro carried. So the 8 Pro had a 120Hz refresh rate display, but what it brought with it were things like HDR inconsistencies, some green tinting on screen, some black crushing on screen, there was a band across the screen, and all of these issues are pretty prevalent all across YouTube as well as the internet. If you want to check out what I'm talking about, I'll leave a few links down in the description to some of the videos that I've watched from some of my friends. And yeah, I didn't really face any issues with this phone, but seeing that so many others face those issues, there is some sort of quality control issue within OnePlus, and with the 8T, I guess they should go ahead and fix that. So that's something that I'm expecting from the 8T, apart from, of course, the specification upgrades that we know. So I talked about the display. It's going to be a 6.55-inch panel. You're going to get 2 options. You're either going to get a 60Hz option or a 120Hz option, which you can toggle between using the settings of the smartphone. So that's obviously a good thing. There is not going to be a middle ground of a 90Hz option. I would have liked to see that, because, if you want to save battery but yet experience a smooth refresh rate, maybe that 90Hz sweet spot could be something that people would like, but maybe they're reserving that for the OnePlus 8, and that's how it could sort of differentiate itself from the 8T as well as the 8 Pro. Now, in terms of camera, we said it's going to have 4 cameras, a 48 megapixel primary lens alongside a 16 megapixel ultra wide angle module, a 5 megapixel macro one, and a 2 megapixel portrait lens. Now, apart from the ultra wide angle module, the 5 megapixel macro and the 2 megapixel portrait lens don't really do a great job when it comes to the real world performance of the camera. This article actually compares these camera setups to the OnePlus 8 as well, which had a 48 megapixel primary sensor, a 16 megapixel ultra wide, and a 2 megapixel macro shooter. So from the 8, you're seeing an upgrade in terms of macros. Gonna get better quality pictures. I think the ultra wide angle module as well as the primary lens are pretty much going to be the same. As far as the 2 megapixel portrait lens goes, It might make a difference, but I don't think it's going to make a massive difference when it comes to processing. The biggest difference should actually be with the sensor that they use, as well as the software processing that goes behind. And for that, we'll have to actually wait and see what OnePlus comes up with and how is improved processing from the 8 and the 8 Pro, which no doubt, especially the 8 Pro, being good camera setup. So that's about it for the camera. As far as the specifications inside go, we're looking at a Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 Plus chipset alongside 8GB of RAM and 128 GB of storage. So that's as far as all the specifications go. I believe the 128 GB of storage will be UFS 3.0, which means it'll read and write data faster on your phone. So for instance, if you want to download a certain application, it'll download and install faster than a phone that maybe has UFS 2.1 storage. If you were expecting microSD expansion, it's unfortunately not going to be here. But something that's interesting is that if you sort of dive into the Android developer preview 4 of the OnePlus 8 series, you'll see a lot of improvements that the 8T will definitely bring to the smartphone as well. One of the biggest improvements will be Android 11, as well as their new Oxygen OS 11, which has borrowed a lot from Samsung's One UI. But if you focus on this game space mode, you see a completely different sort of look and feel to game space. If you've seen game space in the past, it's just been about optimizing certain games for the best performance on the smartphone. Now you're gonna be getting more features with it. So you're gonna get a specific mode for data monitoring, where you'll be able to see the temperature of your phone as well as the battery capacity. Of course, you're gonna get screen recording, and you're gonna get all the optimizations that you would find typically from game space on any other OnePlus device. If we actually go inside further, you're going to be seeing a mention of 8K, which means this smartphone may be able to record 8K video. Now, this is a far-fetched rumor. I don't think the T series of smartphones will bring 8K, because I think that is more of a major step up from the 8 series. You're also seeing a mention of a 64 megapixel sensor. So that could be something that OnePlus uses for its primary lens. Again, all of these things are, not confirmed. They're going off of rumors. So I might be wrong, I might be right. That's what the purpose of this video is about. And speaking of the SD card, there's also mention of saving stuff to your SD card and saving media to your SD card inside the settings menu of the developer preview, which obviously hints at this phone might be having an SD card slot, or it might be software from another phone. We know that OnePlus is also working on a cheaper alternative to the OnePlus Nord, and maybe this is software coming from that smartphone. So all of that is pretty unknown, but yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff. It's going to be the first phone from OnePlus with Android 11 for sure. It's going to introduce it, just like how the OnePlus 7T introduced Android 10 onto the OnePlus series of smartphones last year. And lastly, this is what the phone looks like. And one of the biggest takeaways here is that it borrows the complete same design from the OnePlus 8 as well as the OnePlus 8 Pro, but instead of having curved displays off to the sides, it's going to have a flat one. And I think people are going to genuinely appreciate the flat panel, because I know a lot of people who don't like curved panels because they give you a lot of trouble when you're using it. Maybe you accidentally touch the curved panel, and for that and to avoid that, the flat panel is definitely the way to go. You can also see the alert slider, and you're probably going to be seeing similar colors, so maybe some other rendition of a blue color like we saw on the OnePlus 8 Pro. And yeah, that's about it for this video. Let me know what you guys think about the specifications of the OnePlus 8T. I don't think it's going to be a massive upgrade for 8 owners to definitely upgrade to the 8T, because OnePlus follows this 6 to 1 year cycle. So if you're invested in probably the OnePlus 7T, you might look to upgrade to the OnePlus 8T. And if you're instead invested in the 8 and the 8 Pro, or the 8 Pro, you would want to wait for the 9 and the 9 Pro whenever they come out. But those were my thoughts on the smartphone. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.